In this video, we're troubleshooting why my whole home humidifier system isn't working. I have an April Air 400 series, but this troubleshooting guide will work for other models and brands as they all share common parts. This video will cover changing your water pad filter, troubleshooting the solenoid valve, saddle valve, and your water level sensor. First, we're going to change the water pad filter, which should be done every year or it ends up looking like the one I have in this. So we're going to take the cover off by pushing in these two tabs, put the cover down, remove the hose, and then you're going to tilt this pad forward, lift up. Be gentle if you have these water level sensors, they can break. Yes, that is foreshadowing for later in the video. So to take the pad out, push in, push up, push in, push up. And then you'll want to make sure this top is clean as well. If it isn't, you can run some vinegar or hot water over it. Just remove the old pad. Your new pad may have a marking. That's just the indication of the top. Slide it in. Put the top back on it. Put it back in. Next, we're going to troubleshoot the solenoid valve. I just got a quote from my HVAC company for a $430 repair to the solenoid valve. This quote was just to replace it, and you can find this part for less than $25. And I'll link those replacement parts in the description of this video. To test to see if the solenoid valve is the issue, I disconnected the yellow wires from their power source. I'm going to use a power tool battery to test to see if you can hear a clicking sound. If you can hear a clicking sound, then you know it's opening. You hear it? If you don't have a power tool battery, that's okay. You can grab your kid's 12-volt Power Wheels battery and use it as well. And yes, that is a plug for other videos on my channel. So we can hear it clicking, but there's no water running for it. If you hear the clicking sound, then you know the solenoid valve is still good and you don't need to clean it. But if you don't get that clicking sound, now I'm going to show you how we can clean it with some vinegar. Remove the solenoid valve and soak it overnight in a cup of white vinegar. This will help break up any of the particles that are causing the clog. If after letting it soak you still aren't hearing that clicking sound, it likely means the valve isn't opening and you may need to just buy a new replacement part, which is typically less than $25. Next, we need to check to see where the hose line connects to the home's water line. It's typical for contractors to use a saddle valve because it's cheap, but it can cause a lot of problems such as them leaking or clogging easily. So try closing and opening the valve to clear any blockage. As you can see with mine, it's clogged. So I opted to have a plumber install a quarter-turn ball valve. If you're on a budget, you can try to clear the clog on your own and replace it with another saddle valve. But be aware that using a saddle valve comes with issues later on. Here's a video from the Wilder Home Inspection YouTube channel of him clearing a clog caused by a saddle valve.
There's something smaller, but let's try this live together and see what happens. Again, I do have the water shut off. I do expect, or at least hope, that when I poke a hole in here that water comes out. Looky there, boys. We found the problem.
If so far this video has been worth what you've paid for it, give it a thumbs up for me to help me out. So we know we have a working solenoid valve. We know that our water line is open. Let's use our battery again to test to see if we can get the water to run to our system. So we can hear the water running. That's good. If we can get the water running with our battery test, then we can go ahead and wire these yellow wires back to the control board. Once we get the yellow wires wired up, there should be a test button on your controller. Let's go ahead and turn that on. If you run your test and you can see the water running through the system, then you're all set. You just need to put the cover back on and change it to winter. But if it still doesn't work, take a look at your water level sensor to see if it's broken. So let's take this out gently. And your water level sensor is here. There's two floating bobbers, really, that have magnets on them. And they sit right above these sensors. And the magnet on it closes the circuit. So when there's too much water in your pad, they float up, circuit opens. Someone before me broke these sensors. So I had to hot glue parts that they broke. And now the sensors work. So real quickly, here's how it works. There's power going into the control board. It's kind of like an on-off switch. And when it turns on, there's power that runs out to this connection. So this white wire then runs in our box down to these two sensors. If it's a closed circuit, meaning the bobbers are down, it will flow back to this connection. When it gets here, then it goes back to the solenoid and opens it up, and our water can flow. I'll do a quick test to show you how these work. Turn the test on. Oh, too much water, bobber goes up, drains, goes down. Too much water, goes up, down. And then with this test reset button, if you leave it for about 20 seconds or more, maybe up to a minute, on the reset, that will let the control board know that you're resetting, that there's a new filter. It will start blinking after more than a minute, so just change it back to your setting as desired.